This is Bilal Randeree, and I'm at TED Global in Edinburgh, Scotland, with Amanda Palmer and Amma. Can you guys introduce yourselves? Tell me why you're here, what you're doing.
Sure. My name is Amanda Palmer. I'm the Executive Director of the Doha Film Institute, and you probably also know me for my international film show on Al Jazeera English, the fabulous picture show.
My name is Akuamoah. I work with the Doha Film Institute and work on TEDx Doha and community outreach.
Yes.
Okay, so apparently there was a big announcement made today. Something called...
I hope so, Bilal. We worked very hard on this. Lots
yes,
of work in the
lots
background.
of whispers coming out. Just the news dropped today.
But I will
TEDx.
tell everybody that you were onto it, Bilal, even before the announcement.
Yes.
Bilal had snooped it.
Well,
he had sniffed out the story, so we...
Not 100%. Can you just tell us more about TEDxWWW?
Yes. So, I mean, you probably know anybody who lives in Qatar, and I certainly know that Al Jazeera has is a global network, though. But we've certainly, as you probably saw in recent years, the Middle East has also become part of the TED community and the TEDx community, which is the locally independent, organised community events for people very much, emulating the philosophy of TED, which is, ideas worth spreading. So what we wanted to do was, obviously, the Doha Film Institute, one of the mandates has always been about storytelling, and what we found in recent years is it's not just about film as a conduit for storytelling, it's lots of different types of storytelling, and that includes people getting up on that platform and expressing their ideas. And so we started to work with TED about a year ago, having these discussions on how else Qatar can contribute to bringing this philosophy to the Middle East. And it's already started.
Mm-hmm.
There was TEDx Ramallah and
TEDx Cairo and Khartoum.
And also in Dubai. There's been massive events, and we held 2 last year. And they were we were really happy for them as local events. But I think, we were incredibly, it was timely. It was, I'm not going to say prescient, because things you felt the change in the Middle East. Certainly, many people have felt this for a long time. But what happened was we held our first events in October, and then one in November, and then obviously lots more events happened, and everybody started to talk about, gosh, this Middle East, and they want to, and certainly what happened with the Arab Spring, the social networking proved that there was this community that was hugely connected.
Yeah.
And certainly the people at TED went, wow, you know what, not only are they holding their own TEDx events, but this is a community that's connected, that wants to be part of determining their own transformation, and they want to be part of this global dialogue as well as what's going on regionally.
Well, certainly regionally, the region's very different to what it was last year.
Well, yeah, definitely, and it's perceived very different, as we know. But I think, just to tell you what the event is then, and what we're going to participate, it's the TEDxWWW, which is the TEDx Worldwide Workshop. And the principle is that all these people around the world who are organising these fantastic local events, the TEDx events, that we're inviting 600 of them to come into Qatar and to talk about how to improve these workshops, because they are taking on an enormous momentum. When Amma started working with the DFI, I told her about, hey, we're going to start to work with TED. Her response was euphoric. Because in Africa, the TEDx events had already had a major change in African society, hadn't they? You want to talk
I think for me, people ask me what's my first TEDx story, and it's one by a very well-known African author called Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and she told my story in the sense that she talked about how the African story is not a single story, and that involves different facets. So I might be Ghanaian, but I probably might like sushi or Vietnamese food, and that does not make me any different than the person next.
But also the educational element that you found. As we know, when I first met Amma, and I'll tell you, I met Amma maybe 5 years ago when we did a show together for Al Jazeera English. It was the 48 series. And the reason, Amma was afraid to work with the media in those days, because she said all the people are doing is talking, you said the way mainstream media...
The mainstream media, the way they portrayed Africa as always being problem-ridden, there's no hope, and the fact that pessimism was all over the place. And I think for me, when I work with Amanda on 48, it was trying to tell the African story, but from a young person's perspective, and saying, yes, we have problems, but also there is hope, and that people are making changes. And I think for me, that's what that show represented. And for me also, that's what TED represents, the fact that there is hope, and that people are trying to shape the world by spreading their ideas, and then getting on board, and you doing a little bit and spreading those ideas go a long way to shape the world and bring about the change that you definitely are looking looking for.
So this community of TEDx organisers are incredibly influential and incredibly, awe-inspiring to me that these people take on, and we've seen them TEDx events organised in the poorest slums to the Amazon. I mean, you've probably seen Lara Stein, who heads all of this, talk about that. So partly of what Qatar is going to do and what Doha Film Institute is going to do is we are going to work curatorially with TEDx and in this partnership with TED, and we will do a 2.5-day workshop with the 600 TED organisers where they will just brainstorm and be collaborative and share the spirit, and also what they're learning from these events, how to make them better and better and better, because we know they are getting better.
Yeah.
And the sort of conversations that are happening in these TEDx events also need to be on that global scale. I think a lot of people initially thought, oh, TEDx is a small little parochial event. It's not. These conversations need to be elevated, as we know. So we'll do the workshop, and then on the third day, it will culminate to a major TEDx Doha event. And I've been telling all the TED organisers here today, probably hear them downstairs, because they're all getting together, and that's Bruno's very loud voice. Bruno, who is one of the great curators at TED. I'm going to try and speak over him. We will have the TEDx Doha event, and that will be, again, curated by TEDx, Bruno, who we know, who's the main curatorial voice, with Chris Addison, and also it'll be curated by DFI, and we'll be using and looking to support from the TEDx community within the Middle East, as well as the TEDx community beyond the Middle East. And together we are going to sort of curate a best of TEDx organisers and talks to create the TEDx Doha event. That's very long-winded, but that's how it is.
Well, just to end off, could you give us the details? When, where, how?
Yes, so it's going to happen in Qatar, April 16 to 20.
To the 19th.
19, I can count still.
Next year.
Next year, so we've got about 7 months of a lot of work. We want to say to the community, we do want people to get involved. Whether or not we'll be setting up a local team in Doha to actually start curating this event, as I said, with everybody else. But then, really, this is, as you know, the strength of this event and the strength of this workshop relies on the community and community support. So check out our website, and that's www.dohafilminstitute.com, but of course TEDx Doha and TED.com.
And follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
And everything else.
Like a plug.
Thanks so much. All the best.
Thank you,
Thanks, Bilal. See you later.